In this video, I'll be showing you how to do an ILS approach in the Cessna Citation Longitude. We'll be using the ILS runway 4 right at Detroit Metropolitan. We will be setting up the approach in the FMS using the cleaver transition. To select the approach, press approach, select approach, ILS 4 right, transition, then select cleaver, then load activate. Next, we need to verify the waypoints on the route. You can do that right here, but there is a better way. And that way is by selecting flight plan. Scroll down. You can see all your waypoints and the altitudes at each waypoint. I spent a little bit more time checking the waypoints because I saw the altitudes and thought I would be able to use VNAV. And as we'll find out in a little bit, I'm not going to be able to use VNAV. It's just not programmed into the simulator, which is an absolute bummer because VNAV makes life really, really easy doing an approach like this with multiple step downs. Then the last thing I'm doing, go to audio radios, press nav 1, select the localizer frequency 110.70, hit transfer, and verify 110.7 on the top and nav 1. The last thing we'll do before we go fly is select minimums and enter 840 feet, which is our minimum for the straight in ILS 4 right. Here we are in the air just outside Cleaver. As you can see on the chart, Cleaver is at or above 8,000 and speed is at or below 210 knots. At this point, I have 2,000 selected in the altitude selector, and I have VNAV selected. In the airplanes I fly, the practice is to select VNAV, and then select the altitude where the glide slope is intercepted, which is 2,000 feet. On the way there, the airplane would meet every step down altitude to 2,000 feet. And all the crew has to do is just monitor. But as you'll shortly see, it didn't work. The simulator did nothing. And I will move the altitude selector from 2,000 back up to 8,000 and do each step down manually, unfortunately. Currently you can see where we are between Cleaver and Bang. The altitude between these two waypoints is 8,000 feet. You can see it on the approach plate. You can also see that in the FMS. Back to the VNAV. In the real airplane, you would have an altitude up here that would show 7,000 feet. And the airplane would start down and cross the next fix at 7,000 feet. But here in a second, you'll see that I realized that it didn't work, and I'll put 7,000 feet back in the altitude alerter. As we cross Julep intersection, our next altitude is 6,000. We can set 6,000 in the altitude alerter. Vertical speed mode will also need to be engaged. I'm using 12 to 1,300 feet per minute for each step down. This process will be repeated for every step down just until we're inside of Jelly intersection. So I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. This is also a good time to change the nav source to nav 1 from FMS. This will not affect our altitude. Our nav source is only controlling our left-right guidance, but now that we have approach selected, it's going to control our left-right guidance. Then when that glide slope dot comes down, it's going to follow that all the way to minimums and beyond. One thing to remember, if you select approach when the dot is on the top half of the glide slope indicator, the glide slope will capture and the autopilot will fly it down. If you're late pressing the approach button and the glide slope dot is on the bottom half of the glide slope indicator, it will not capture. It'll just maintain altitude and fly all day until you do something. We're now 1 dot high above the glide slope. At this point, I've already selected gear down. Next thing we're going to do is select full flaps so we're fully configured before we intercept the glide slope right there. You can also see the green glide slope on the flight mode annunciator. I'm holding 145 knots for final approach speed. I'm now selecting the missed approach altitude of 4,000 feet. The next thing we're looking for is our minimum, 840 feet. When we get to that height, our decision height, we're going to look out and see if we see the runway. We're now 500 feet above minimums. And you heard that 500 foot call out. That 500 foot call out is 500 feet above the ground off the radar altimeter, not above minimums. (100 feet to minimums). Minimums. Runway's 12 o'clock. Land.
Autopilot.
And that was smash-down, fly brakes, and the thrust reversers. And that's it. That's an ILS approach in the longitude. If you like these videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.